These are the top 20 international basketball players of all time. You might be asking what the criteria is for this list, and my response would be, well, I made up the list. Honorable mention is Dino Radja, a 6'11" forward center from Croatia, a boyhood friend of Toni Kukoc, who had spent only 4 years in the NBA with the Boston Celtics, but he averaged 16 points and 8 rebounds. He then returned back to Europe to finish his career. In 1995-96, he averaged 19 and 9, and he's a member of the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
At number 20, we have Dikembe Mutombo of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, formerly Zaire. The 7'2" center was a star at Georgetown, and he's one of the greatest shot blockers of all time. Mutombo was a larger-than-life personality, and he was known for wagging his finger in the opponent's face after he blocked their shot. One of the most popular players in the league during his time. At number 19, we have the Serbian legend Vlade Divac. The 7'1" center began his career as the replacement on the Lakers for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Vlade played on some excellent teams with the Sacramento Kings and was a fantastic passer at his size. Vlade played the game with his own unique flair. At number 18, we have Oscar Schmidt of Brazil. Schmidt was drafted in the same draft as Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Akeem Olajuwon, and John Stockton. He never came to the NBA, but his all-time scoring record in professional basketball was broken by LeBron James just a few years ago. Schmidt played against Joe Jellybean Bryant, the father of Kobe, and Kobe himself modeled a lot of his game after Oscar. The 6'8" forward would choose to play internationally for his entire career. He never played in the NBA. At number 17, we have Yao Ming, and I don't know where you think he should be placed on this list, but I think injuries play a huge factor. He did a lot for the game globally, but as far as on the court, in 8 seasons he only had 4 healthy ones. At the time, people used to say that Yao gave Shaq fits, but not really. Shaq never really had a huge problem with Yao. Big body, great skills, but not the most durable player in the world. The Mozart of basketball, Drazen Petrovic. He would only play 4 seasons in the NBA. His final 2, he averaged over 20 points a game, and he was All-NBA third team in his final season. We lost Drazen unexpectedly in 1993. His opponents regarded him as one of the hardest players to guard in the entire league. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2002. At number 15, we have Toni Kukoc, a player that would be much more at home in 2026 than he was in the 1990s. People weren't used to finesse 7-footers that preferred to shoot jumpers outside instead of backing people down on the block. Kukoc in many ways was a trailblazer for international stars. At number 14, we have the 7'3", 300-pound Lithuanian giant Arvydas Sabonis. As most people know, it took him nearly a decade to make the transition from Europe to the NBA. By the time he got here, he had no knees, ankles, or Achilles left. If he had come here in his prime, there is no doubt he would be discussed among the greatest centers who have ever played this game. This is footage of young Sabonis having no issue scoring on David Robinson. At number 13, it's Peja Stojakovic. Chosen in the legendary 1998 NBA draft, Peja was a nightmare for opposing defenses. A 6'10" stretch that preferred to shoot the 3. Peja would feel right at home in the NBA in 2026. At number 12, we have Wemby, and I know what you're going to say. It's too early. It's only been really 2.5 years of a sample size. But this guy, seriously, has GOAT potential. If you've literally only watched him play once, you're probably going to see something you've never seen before. That's how special this guy is. He will be much higher on this list when it's all said and done, that I promise you. At number 11, we have Joel Embiid, the 76ers center. As you know, he was a league MVP and he's put up monster numbers for most of his career. The 7'1" center from Cameroon has had a ton of injuries during his NBA career. And the city of brotherly love doesn't always take kindly to not winning. At number 10, we have Manu Ginobili, the tireless San Antonio Spurs wing who had 4 championships during his career. Whatever was going on during the regular season, you knew Manu was going to be one of the best players on the floor come playoff time. That's the kind of player he was. The Hall of Famer played his best when the lights were the brightest. Ginobili was a perennial 6th Man of the Year candidate and a 2-time All-Star. At number 9, we have 6'2" French point guard Tony Parker, a 6-time All-Star and a 4-time NBA champion. Parker ran point for some fantastic San Antonio Spurs teams. When we have these discussions about the greatest point guards, Parker always gets overlooked. Parker was an unselfish player who cared about winning first. He could have put up bigger stats in another organization that didn't win as much. But I don't think he regrets being a Hall of Famer. At number 8, we have Steve Nash, the two-time MVP. Now you can argue if he earned those MVPs or not. I think he earned at least one of them, but whatever. The fact of the matter is this guy gets overlooked, but not in the reason you think he does. I don't think people remember how good he truly was. The Canadian star was a masterful ball handler, a fantastic shooter, and an excellent playmaker. As far as the MVPs go, he was tailor-made to play with those up-tempo Phoenix Suns teams. They were really exciting to watch. At number 7, we have SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, already an MVP, already an NBA champion. He and Wemby are my two favorite players to watch in the entire league. Stay tuned because it won't be long until he's higher on this list and higher on a lot of lists. At number 6 is Pau Gasol, a 7'1" forward center from Spain. Kobe Bryant once famously said, "If you don't think that Pau Gasol is one of the best players in the world, then you don't know anything about basketball." A two-time championship player that had very few weaknesses in his game. He was long, he was athletic, and he had boundless energy. Gasol was a Hall of Famer in 2023. At number 5 is Luka Doncic. Not much to talk about here. He's one of the best players in the NBA, and he was the best player in Europe when he was just a teenager. At number 4 is German-born Dirk Nowitzki, a 7-footer that could shoot it from anywhere. He completed the second greatest playoff run by a star in NBA history in 2011. Some ask if he could have won more, and maybe he should have. He had some good teams, but he had to go through a gauntlet of a Western Conference every year. The power forward position brought him nightly matchups of Rashid, Tim Duncan, Chris Webber, Kevin Garnett, Pau, Andrei Kirilenko, and others. At number 3, and almost too close to call, is the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo, a 6'11" beast who's grown 3 inches since he entered the NBA. A walking double-double, and if I may say so, the Milwaukee Bucks front office has done him no favors. At number 2, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, one of the greatest post players. He has 2 rings. He's one of the best defensive players of all time. And in 1995, he completed the greatest playoff run by a star we've ever seen in NBA history. He took out 3 60-win teams, he annihilated MVP David Robinson, and he swept Shaq in the finals. And drumroll please. Big reveal at number 1, it's Nikola Jokic, and why wouldn't it be? The man is a walking triple-double at the center position. It's incredible. He's the best passing big man of all time. When it comes to box plus minus, how good your team is per 100 possessions when you're on the floor, he's number 1 all time. Michael Jordan is 2 and LeBron is 3. He has a chip and he's never had what you'd call a lot of help. So that's it. That's the list. And I know I left off a lot of good players. Please let me know in the comments what you think and let me know about anyone I left off that should be on. But thank you for watching, and I appreciate all the support of the channel, and there should be new content coming out very soon.